everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Penguin Nonsense. I am your host, Edith, and we are back. I know it's been like 2 weeks since I haven't seen y'all. It's been a whirlwind of 2 weeks. As y'all know that me and Jose were supposed to get married, we did get married yesterday on the 18th, so the last 2 weeks, it was just like the weekends were full of the bachelorette, I have to get this ready, I have to finish that, I have to finish this, and I have to finish that. And it was just so much going on that there's just no energy left in me to make the video. So I took some time off only because I had to, not because I wanted to, but it is a sacrifice that had to be made. But yours truly is now married. So it was definitely fun. It was definitely everything I had hoped and wished for. The DJ did get my song wrong going down the aisle, so but we were not about to just restart the ceremony so we could get him the right song. We went for it. We walked down the aisle, and everything else, in my opinion, went perfectly well. I ended up having a lot of fun. I ended up enjoying my day. I loved as intimate as it was with our closest friends and family that were there. I didn't really have a stranger who I was just like, who are you and why are you here? So I was really, really happy to have the intimate wedding that we did. So for any of y'all out there getting married, and I know people say, we should invite like every person we have came into contact with and have this giant wedding, but that used to be my thought process, but it came down to it, and I was just like, I don't want to invite somebody who I knew for one time and then just never saw them again, and just every now and then, like, I guess follow on like Facebook or something. I want the people who are there to be people who have actually been with us through pretty much like on a regular basis, even if it's at least like once a week or once every few weeks or that kind of stuff. People who actually do still keep in touch and that kind of stuff. And I think it was the best choice ever, because we knew that the people who were there were people who really truly cared for us, and really truly we got to see them on a regular. So definitely the best time of my life so far. And we won't be doing our honeymoon until next week, so maybe I'll be getting a penguin blog from that, which will be in New York. So all kinds of fun. So without making this intro any longer than we already have, let's get on to our first story of the week. So our first story is from Tennessee, and it goes, Memphis men who allegedly killed 4 found dead of self-inflicted gunshot. A suspect in Tennessee who allegedly killed 4 people and seriously injured a 5th victim while on a domestic violence rampage died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot while on the run. Officer conducting a manhunt for Mavis Christian Jr., 52, found him dead in his car early Sunday after shooting at 3 locations in Memphis on Saturday night that left 3 women and a teenage girl dead. Another teen girl was critically wounded. Local police began investigating the killing spree when a call about a shooting came into the station about 9:20 p.m. Officers found a woman with an apparent gunshot wound who was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators later concluded that there were 2 other connected fatal shootings at the scene of one of those attacks. A woman and a 13-year-old were killed, and a 15-year-old was critically wounded. Another woman was found fatally shot at the other of the additional scenes, a police spokesperson said. Officers Suspected Christian was responsible for all three shootings and began a search involving the local, state, and federal law enforcement. Investigators said that they also believe each of the shootings constituted domestic violence. A violence blame on Christian would have constituted a mass shooting and it occurred in a single location. Oh no, had it occur in a single location. Sorry, guys. Figures from the nonpartisan gun violence archive show there had been more than 605 mass shootings so far this year as of Sunday. That translates to a rate of nearly 2 mass shootings a day, which has led to calls for meaningful gun control from the quarters. The archive defines a mass shooting as one in which 4 or more victims are killed or wounded. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Had a little tickle in my throat there. But it is so sad that here in the U.S. we have such a problem with our guns. And I am all for America owning guns. I think they're a great way to protect each other. I think they're a great way for hunting. I think they're good for a lot of stuff. And I honestly don't think that people should not be able to own guns. I think otherwise, because there's so many crazy people out there. But I feel like there should be like a stronger, laws to who can attain a gun. And I hate keep seeing on the news somebody has gone on this rampage shooting, somebody has shot up our schools, somebody has done something that they shouldn't have with their guns, and it's just so sad. I feel like back then, like, everything used to be so much easier. You didn't really have to worry about these things like going on and that kind of stuff, and worrying about whether you were going to come home, especially going to school. You didn't really worry about, oh, somebody's going to shoot up the school or anything like that. And now it's like you have to have these drills more often than you should have to, because it's such a normality now. And that's really sad. Like I said, I don't agree that they need to be taken away, but I also agree that better laws need to be put in place so these guns don't keep going out to the wrong people. Anybody who has had any type of mental issues don't need to be having a gun, that kind of stuff. Like, I think just more stuff needs to be put out there. I know there was an example, and I honestly can't remember it now, so now I can't say it, but it was like something like so dumb that you couldn't do, but yet you could buy a gun or something like that. And there's a lot of things that I'm sure that are out there that it's like you can't do, but if you wanted to buy a gun, you could. So that goes a lot to say. So I feel like we just need to work on our laws on who is able to own a gun and who isn't. But on a brighter note, if you hunt deer, please go out and hunt more deer, because I've been seeing a lot of them out on the road dead. So obviously their population is a little bit stronger this year. So we need to start shooting them down. But other than that, our prayers to those people who did die. I don't know. It doesn't say in the article if he knew any of these women. Just sounds like a domestic violence thing, but I don't know if that's supposed to mean that it was somebody they, like, it's so hard, because like I just want to know, why he just went around shooting random women, or were they random or not? I've always had a thing for like wondering and wanting to know what breaks in your mind that makes you want to take these really exaggerated steps, So our prayers go out to those families. I know that can't bring them back, but I hope they find peace in their hearts for sure. But that was a story here in the U.S. from around the world, and we hope things. I hate that he died. I hate that he died because he doesn't get to face any consequences. But let me know what you guys think. Do y'all think that stronger laws need to be made? Do y'all think they need to be taken all the way, or do you think that just let them be? Obviously, I don't typically try to swing one way or the other. But I know I earlier said that I stand more for it. I just think it's a good security measure. But I definitely do agree that the laws need to be a little bit more stricter on who can and can't handle it. But let me know what you guys think. All right. On to our next story. Am I the a-hole? And this one's going to be a long one. So, this one is from the forum Am I the A-hole? And it's from Open Breadfruit 5391. From a day ago, this has already been logged, and it's more of an advice needed type of situation instead of an Am I the a-hole story. So we go, and the title goes, Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce my husband because he wants a son? I, 27 female, have been with my husband, 29 male, for 5 years, married for 3 of those years. Our marriage was perfect and we were so happy. It felt like our entire life was perfect. Church on Sunday, loving husband, beautiful home, all of it. A few months into our marriage, I became pregnant and my husband and I were overjoyed. And so was the rest of our family. My husband was especially happy for finding out our baby was a boy, as he'd always told me he wanted at least one son. I even started to try to attempt to repair my relationship with my mother, so our son could have a relationship with his grandparents. I had originally cut off most contact with my mother due to how she treated my brother when he married his husband, though my brother said he was alright with my decision to try to get with her back in my life since he still has love for her and my baby was her first grandchild. However, our son ended up stillborn and it broke me. I fell into depression and even at one point considered taking my life. But my husband was there for me during all of it and we got through the grief. Our marriage felt stronger than ever and life started slowly feeling beautiful again, even if it no longer felt perfect. About 5 months ago, I found out I'm pregnant again, and then I found out soon after that we're having triplets. My husband and I were over the moon, and he was the most doting and loving husband, since we had always wanted to have at least 2 or 3 children. We agreed we wouldn't try for any more after this. Because of our and our family's excitement for the triplets, we decided to throw a baby shower and a gender reveal party. We trusted my brother with the genders of the triplets and bought some confetti cannons and the colored streamers inside. The baby shower went wonderfully with my parents, in-laws, my brother and his husband and their daughter, and tons of friends and family who is extended. It was like a dream come true, and I was excited for the gender reveal. I don't care what the gender of our babies was. I just wanted a healthy little baby, but my husband was clearly excited for potentially 3 sons. When the time came, me, my husband, and my brother all shot a confetti cannon, and all 3 shot out pink confetti. I was so excited, and so was my brother, but my husband screamed on the top of his lungs and hit the table in front of us, hitting it so hard that it actually broke. He screamed at me that I was supposed to give him at least one son because I killed his first one. That's when I burst into tears. I had been so broken up about our son's stillbirth, and a part of me had felt it was my fault, and now my husband was the love of my life telling me that it was. My brother immediately stepped in and tried to get my husband to calm down, but my husband shoved my brother, so my brother instead pulled me aside where I cried in the living room while my husband's mother tried to calm him down. I could hear him screaming outside of how 3 daughters is too many, how he doesn't want 4 kids, but he also wants a son. Ever since that moment, my husband has hardly talked to me. He's been sleeping in the guest room, and when we do interact, he's clearly upset and mad and tries to argue with me. I tried to talk to him about it and ask about how he'll be with our 3 daughters, but he spat at me and told me he will provide them shelter and food, but he isn't interested in daughters and doesn't plan to have a close relationship with them. That sealed the deal, and I want to divorce him, and I cried myself to sleep last night. Earlier today, I confided in my mother and my mother-in-law about all of this, that he told me I can't divorce my husband just because he wants a son. No. I confided in them about this, but they told me I can't divorce my husband just because he wants a son. I don't want my daughters to grow up in an unloving household where their parents constantly argue and their father doesn't love them. The moment my husband said, I killed our son, I felt as though I lost all the love I had for him in an instant, and I don't want my daughters to be in that kind of household. However, both my mom and my mother-in-law say that it's just natural for men to want sons, and that at least he isn't saying he'll mistreat them. They treated this as an absolute fact and acted as though I'm just a little silly little girl who doesn't know anything. I felt incredibly small and stupid. I don't know what to do. My mother and my mother-in-law make me feel like maybe I'm overreacting to my husband's behavior, but my brother says this is not normal, and he and his husband are both men who absolutely love their daughter. I'm also not sure of what I'll do with myself if I divorce my husband. I don't work, and I'm not sure how I'll be able to find a job that can support me and 3 babies all on my own, or how I'll make time for all of them when I have to work. I feel so lost and helpless. I am torn on what to do because I worry divorce will be too brass of a decision and that maybe my mother and mother-in-law are right. Am I the a-hole? What should I do? It boils me. It boils under my skin. Well, the audacity of some people, I swear. I don't understand how some people can go through life thinking that babies are going to be born the gender you want them to be born. To this day, that doesn't make any sense to me. Let's start off with this. Going from being a stillbirth mother, going through that, I know and I have heard. Personally don't know what it feels like, but I know people, and I hear from people who have gone through this process. It is not the easiest. Waiting on a rainbow baby is not the easiest step because you have gone through a traumatic experience, and when you really want something to know that you might be able to lose it again, it has to be the most mentally hard, like the hardship for that has to be so mentally big, and you have to be prepared for this what if it's so hard to prepare for, and you can't there's just not even a word for it. Like, there's always like a thing of like, I've heard a famous saying that I'm really gonna butcher, I'm sure, but I think it goes something like, there's a name for like when you lose like your husband or your wife and that kind of stuff, but there's not a name whenever you lose your kid, because there's just no words can ever put it into perspective. And so I think that goes a long way. It's so hard to even put it into words on what it feels like to lose your child. The fact that she had gone through this sucks so much, and the fact that she was able to conceive, and not just one but three, I think that is the most beautiful rainbow babies blessing ever. But the fact that this husband went and was the most loving person, the most amazing person to her, as she said, her life was pretty much perfect and everything. And all of a sudden go from being this most wonderful person and even helping her through this stillbirth moment where she was just at the worst of the worst. She thought about taking her own life and everything. And he still turns around to be this asshole. I'm sorry, but there's no other way to describe that. How do you go from wanting a child and all of a sudden deciding that this is it? Like, okay, it's not going to be so bad to maybe try for a fourth one. And having three girls, it's not such a curse. But I feel like it's not her fault. It really isn't her fault. And the fact that he made it her fault is really ridiculous, because I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, y'all can at me at the comments or whatnot. But I believe it's the semen of the man who determines the gender of the baby. So I believe that comes from the man who determines the baby's gender. So, well, obviously the semen makes the baby, but I believe it's his genetics that actually make whether you're having a girl or a boy. I don't know about medicine, but it's something about that. They're the ones who decide on it. So technically, it's his fault these are girls. It's not her fault. She has no control over that. So that's a first thing. And then, like I said earlier, you don't just get to pick what you want. I mean, I think if you do like artificial insemination or that kind of stuff, I think they do let you decide. I'm not quite sure on that one. I think it's like, I had seen a show where they had like, I think they had decided what type of eggs or what type she wanted to have. So I don't know on that. But I mean, just naturally birth, like just the natural process that it happens. You just don't get to be like, oh, I want a boy or I want a girl or I want to. Like, no, that's not how that happens. So for him to be the way he's pissed off, the way he's mad at the world, the way this is all going about it, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And that just goes to show you how much you think you know a person, but then one moment can change everything, and all of a sudden you don't know that person anymore. This is not the person you married. This is not the person you knew up until now. And you're sitting there wondering, where did it go wrong? What happened? And just throwing that back in her face that it's your fault that our baby died, that is that really boils me. Like, how do you throw that into somebody's face? That is just ridiculous. It's not like she wanted to kill the baby or anything. No, that's not what happened. And it pisses me off on another level. But I really hope she gets out of that relationship. But I know it's hard. It's easier said than done because, like she said, she doesn't have a job. she doesn't know how to provide for herself without the help of her husband, I guess, and he's probably well off for them to want to have 3 or 4 children. Because this was, how long ago was this posted? This was posted a day ago. So living in this time of day with 3 or 4 children, or at least 3 because she wants 3, yeah, that is expensive. Nonetheless, at one time, 3 children at one time. So you're already buying the loads of diapers, the loads of baby formula. If you decide to do breastfeeding, then maybe if your breast produces the milk enough to like do 3 babies. But some people don't get lucky and they can't produce milk like they want to, and they have to rely into formula. Formula is hell of expensive. It is gonna be such a toll on her that it's to even fathom that. I'm sure it's hard. And the fact that the dad already says that he's not gonna love them or he doesn't want to build a relationship with them. I think my question is like, what was gonna happen? Let's pretend that one of them was a boy. Were the 2 girls just gonna get outed to the side, like, and just the love be all for the boy? Like, or 2 boys and 1 girl, was the 1 girl just gonna be kicked to the side? And like, I don't understand. I am thankful enough to have been brought into a family of 2 boys. I don't know if it's being thankful or whatnot, but I got brought up in a family of 2 boys. But never once did my dad ever looked at me and been like, I hate you. Well, it was a rough time in our lives one time where we did both just weren't getting along. But for the most part, I've always been a daddy's girl. My dad has been everything for me, and he has always been there for me and everything. So I could say that, like, there is a possibility to have a relationship with your daughters. There, like, being a man, there could be a stronger relationship with your dad. So I don't understand where he's coming from that he doesn't want to have a relationship with them, and why. Why is he having this? It feels very like a very sexist thing to say, like, I want a boy and this is that. Like, I don't understand. Why? And I mean, I don't get it. I hate that he's being this way. And I would hate for her to be like, I would hate to advise and say, oh, just wait it out. And maybe like once the girls are born, he gets to hold one. And the moment that baby reaches out, like, you know, to hold your hand or that kind of stuff. Like, I've heard for people, it's that moment when like they first get to hold them and stuff. Then he'll realize, I'm so stupid. Why did I even think that? But I'm sure for her, this thing in her heart has now been broken whenever he threw back in her face that it was her fault that the kid died, the first kid. So I'm sure that's already a cut that's not going to be mended well, no matter how hard they try. So it's a rough one. I don't even know why the mother-in-laws are being like this. The mother-in-law, I can see maybe because of the, like, that's her son, but your own mother also telling you that, no, honey, just stay with him and it'll pass through. Like, if I was the mom of that daughter, I'd be like, you know what, come home, we'll figure it out. But I don't know. I wish the best for this couple. That's all I can do is wish the best for these people who end up being, I guess, right about. But the top comment was, hate to break it to your husband, but it's the sperm. Oh, ha! I knew it. It's the sperm that determines their gender. So he's the one who gave you 3 daughters. And then when he spat at you, get away from him. He's toxic. People are saying that she should divorce him. He's violent, vicious, and cruel, insane. So everybody seems to be on the boat of like splitting is considered assault. Spitting is considered an assault because he did spat at her. And use that when she files for divorce and stuff like that. So that's just, everybody's on this boat of divorce. I really am really close to divorce, but like I said, it is easier said than done, especially in this economy. It is not the easiest thing to be done. But definitely, if spitting can be put as an assault, then she might be able to get, like, at least maybe the house, that kind of stuff. I don't know, their assets, how their assets are set up, that kind of stuff. But I wish the best for them. I wish the best for her more than anything. Because him, I'd rather just, there's a lot of things I would rather say. But let's keep it professional, right? But for her, I wish her the best. I hope she gets out of it if she can. And we'll see how that goes. So, on to our next story of the day.
One eternity later.
So, our third story of the day comes from a cute little one. It's about a sheep. And it goes, the world's loneliest sheep has been rescued. After being stuck on the rock for the past 2 years, the ewe, I believe it's what it says, EWE, ewe, now named Fiona, has been rescued by a band of volunteers. Fiona was stranded at the foot of cliffs in the Scottish Highlands before being rescued in what has now been called an epic mission. The rescue group, the Sheep Game, said, quote, she is an incredible fellow, but its loneliest sheep is lonely no more. End quote. And another quote says, we've named her Fiona, and she's now safe and well and heading to a well-known Scottish farm park. The rescue was epic. Fiona was first spotted by Gillian Turner in 2021, when she was kayaking between Ballantor and Nick. Before seeing that the ewe in the same place the following year, now safe, Fiona has settled into a comfy life at the Dulscone farm in Dumfries. And this sheep is huge. But they say Ali Williamson, a member of the group, said that they used heavy equipment to marshal the sheep up an incredible slope. Ali detailed it was some job lifting her up from the slope. She was going to a very special place where you will be able to see her every day. And then it goes back to telling about how she had been seen at that same spot. But let me show you a picture of the sheep and the amount of fur this sheep has. I hope that they can be able to like close it, but y'all will be able to see the link on it. I thought I had seen a comment on how much her wool. Yeah, her wool weighed 20 pounds. Can't believe carrying that much wool on you. Whew. But how? Dang, being stuck in the same spot for almost 2 to 3 years. Dang, 2 years, yeah. How is she eating? How is she being kept alive? What if she was? What if she was one of those? I don't know. I just there's this show called Bob's Burgers, and we see it. They have this one aunt. She's a little crazy about cats, and the other day there's an episode, and she's like, she has this cat, and she's like, I found this cat. It was just there sitting on somebody's porch, And he just looked very lonely. And she goes on about it and whatnot. And I'm like, did she just take somebody's cat? Because, I mean, if it wasn't in a portrait, it was probably that person's cat. But I had to think about this sheep, and I was like, what if they just took a perfectly fine sheep who was lonely, who just happened to be in that same spot the year after, and all of a sudden, like, this sheep is getting taken because, like, nobody knows, and they're like, hello? Like the poor sheep is just like, I had to get back to some stuff, but okay, I mean, now I'm here. But, I mean, they did say that she was trapped, like, through some cliffs and stuff, but I just feel like it should have been dead by now. I don't know much about wildlife or farm life or anything like that, so I don't know how long sheep can go out without eating or drinking if you're stuck in the same spot. So I feel like if she's alive, then wouldn't she have been eating and drinking some water? I don't know. So to me, that's a little sus. But nevertheless, a cute little lamb story. If she was stuck, then hooray, she got rescued. I thought that was cute. So that was a short story. But she is now no longer lonely, and her name is Fiona, and she is living all happily at a farm now. So hopefully it's a not killing farm, so she doesn't get put up for slaughter later in life. That went down a dark hole real quick. Sorry, guys. But I hope that she lives a long, happy life, and that she is able to get all the love that she can possibly get, since she didn't have anybody and was lonely there. So that is all I have for you guys this week. I think it is gonna be a long week for sure, but it's at least a long short week, because if you're in America, if you're in America, stupid. If you're in the USA, we have Thanksgiving coming up, so it's, well, at least for those of us who don't work on holidays, it's a 3-day week. So I'm excited that we only get to work 3 days this week. But if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, be safe out there. Don't drink too much. Make smart decisions going home from parties, that kind of stuff. Or if you do drink too much, but stay where you are, or call an Uber, that kind of stuff. Don't make dumb decisions, you guys. Or drugs, or whatever you guys do. I don't know. But just make smart choices, okay? I hope y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. If y'all celebrate it, if y'all don't, then just enjoy the week. And I will see y'all again, hopefully next Monday. Next Monday. Sorry, I don't know why I say Sunday. It's because we record Sunday, but that's besides the point. So, goodbye, everybody. Y'all have a good week, and be safe out there. Bye.